TheAngryHoneyBadger.
Hey everybody, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it is time for another champion build video. Today it is Hecarim, and it's in the jungle. Now I know Hecarim is played a lot in the top lane, so we will address that a little bit too as this build goes on. The main differences are, most people take Ghost and Teleport, or they take Ignite. No, they don't. They take Teleport. And you know why they take Teleport? It's because they do the home guard shenanigans with Hecarim. Pretty crazy initiations, honestly, for team fights. But the only difference mainly between the top lane Hecarim and jungle Hecarim is the fact that you would not get the jungle item if you were playing top, and you'd go straight for your first item, which is, of course, the Trinity Force. So, we're going to talk about Hecarim, though. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about his runes and his masteries. So, for his runes, attack damage marks, armor seals, magic resist, per level glyphs, and then either attack speed or movement speed quintessences. Both are good for different reasons. Attack speed obviously clears the jungle. Movement speed is obviously good because of his passive, which we'll talk about in 1 second. And obviously ganking and just in general, it's good to have Hecarim. Hecarim's fast. Why not make him faster? So let's talk about why those are good, though, on his abilities as we cover those. Well, okay, hold on. Pause. It's down the bottom right. You can see the masteries. Out of the way. Cool. Now to the abilities. First off is his Warpath. This is his passive. Hecarim ignores unit collision and gains attack damage equal to a percentage of the bonus movement speed. This percentage is increased at level 3 and then every 3 levels from there on. So this is why movement speed quints give him a little extra damage and just gank power. And this is something we'll talk about too, utilizing it just a little bit. It's not like super crazy, but we'll talk about how that's good on Hecarim. And here, the enemy team went hard to get my mid laner, which they do, but you take too many tower shots, both of you, and we're going to be able to clean up both of these people while we continue on with the abilities. So, first off, your Q ability. This is what we're going to be maxing out. First, you're going to cleave nearby enemies, dealing damage to them, physical damage that is. The ability deals 66% damage to minions and monsters. If Hecarim damages at least one enemy unit with this attack, he gains a stack of Rampage, reducing the base cooldown of this skill by 1 second for a short duration. This effect can stack up to 2 times. That is your Q ability. It's good. We're going to spam it in the jungle and clear monsters and hurt people with it in fights. Then our Spirit of Dread is your W. Hecarim deals magic damage to nearby enemies for 4 seconds, up to a maximum amount depending on yada yada. Hecarim gains health equal to 20% of any damage those enemies suffer. Healing from damage dealt to minions is capped at a certain amount, so you just don't overly heal. We're going to max this out. There's debate between people. Some people max this out second. I personally max it out third because I like getting more cooldown on my Devastating Charge and the damage on Devastating Charge because of its amazingness. This is your E ability. This is next. I like to max this out second, put a point into it at level 3. Devastating Charge, what happens here is you're going to gain 75% movement speed over the course of 3 seconds. Your next attack knocks back targets and will deal a minimum amount of damage and a maximum amount of damage based on the travel distance since you activate the ability, which is why I like to max it out. It does a lot of damage once you max it out, like honestly a lot of damage, which makes it a devastating charge. They kind of nailed it with the name, which is why I maxed it out second. And the cooldown on it, reducing it, means you can use it a lot more often, which is great in team fights, getting to gank faster, getting around the map, and overall just harassing the enemy team a lot, like I did when I just invaded. And then your ultimate is your Onslaught of Shadows. Hecarim summons Spectral Riders and charges forward, dealing magic damage in a line. Hecarim creates a shockwave when he finishes his charge, causing enemies to flee in terror away from him for 1 second. This is a fantastic initiation tool that is really working in the current meta with beefy frontliners because he can go straight through them and get to high priority targets on the back line. And he brings a handful of damage when he does this, especially at colossal speeds. Makes him a really strong pick. Here we're going to come to bot lane real quick. Get in the fight. We're going to pick up a double kill after walking into a bind. That was super scrub. We're going to ult. We're going to go hard. We're going to apparently smite Morgana, which works, whatever, kills her. We get a double kill. Silver's going to go ahead and pick up a double kill too and get my red buff, so she played that pretty smart knowing she could finish us off. So well played to you, sir. And good day. I will kill you later. And yeah, that's what's going to happen. Those are our abilities. Now let's talk about the build a little bit as things have gone on. So what we've done with the build, obviously if we're in the jungle, we've built the Stalker's Blade. It's good for smiting people, slowing them, and murdering them. It's really the only item you really want to get on Hecarim. And then we finish it off with the enchantment of the Warrior. Attack damage is great, and armor penetration, also cooldown reduction. All great things that we love to have on Hecarim. And then we've also finished off our boots as we begin to build towards our Trinity Force. So we finished off our boots. We're going to coordinate a quick gank, though, with our mid laner. They're going to come over. I don't actually know how I got that kill, but okay. Coordinate those when they invade. Don't just go jump on them and try to solo them. You don't know how much damage they could possibly do. That also is a Xin Zhao. He's going to shred through our armor. It's going to tickle. So just quick coordination gank with your mid lane. Get them some gold, too, with an assist, better gold distribution, and all of those fun things. We're going to go ahead and go hard onto Kennen, who has overextended without proper ward coverage, and punish him for said improper warding. And let's go jump back to those boots. Now, I've built the Boots of Swiftness, not something you see all the time in a League of Legends. You see mostly people going for Mercs, or for Tabby, or for Mobies on their junglers these days. The reason I like Swiftness is I think it's just a little more rewarding on Hecarim. He's one of the few that really utilizes it because of his passive, and I like to constantly stick to people, spam the Q, and hit them with autos, getting Sheen procs from the Sheen we have picked up. That's the first part of our Trinity Force we'll want to pick up. So those are the boots I go with. Once again, boots in my builds and a lot of the items are totally, everything is situational. I mean, if different things mean different things, you just go for the different things. Nothing is just, this is the only way to do it. No build is ever that way. But this is a guideline. We know this. We talk about this. So, we went with those boots. Obviously, get the ones you're comfortable with. We're going to go hard onto Victor. We're not going to jump into a stupid circle. If he was smart, he probably would have stayed in it, but he would have died then too. But regardless, he will die after my mediocre at best ultimate there. But it still had him flee in terror. So, yeah, that's what we have going for us. So pick up the Sheen part first. It'll help you clear on the jungle. It'll help you deal that extra damage on those ganks as you spam your Q ability, constantly getting Sheen procs. The next portion of that item you will want to pick up is, of course, the Visage, which is a great, great part of the Trinity Force. Let's break down Trinity Force really fast on Hecarim. It might be the best item. How do I say this? He might be the best champion to benefit from Trinity Force. There's a couple other great ones too in there. Don't get me wrong. Like some other great champions really, really benefit from Trinity Force. But he does great for all the things it does. Phage will give you that increased movement speed, giving him increased damage from his passive, lets him stick to targets very well, and spam his Q and auto, which in turn allows him to proc the Sheen over and over and over and over and over. He also benefits from having a little bit of ability power just on a couple of his abilities, and the mana is really good because you can spam Q constantly. Why not have an extra amount of mana? It's really good to have. And then the Zeal, of course. More attack speed, more crit chance, and movement speed multiplier. This is even more stuff for his passive. He benefits from this item so tremendously. If you're going to be building him either in the jungle or top lane, make sure you finish your Trinity Force before you start building towards other big ticket items. If you build towards other big ticket items, you're going to actually fall behind because of this. And we've talked about this before. You can't just not finish an item that is so core or so fundamental to a build. So very important to finish this off. Very, very good item. If you get halfway done with it and decide that you need to go tanky right away, I honestly think you'll do better. One of the rare occasions where if you finish your damage first and then go for your tank, you do better. So that's all I'll say about that. It's disappointing when I see somebody get the first two parts of a Trinity Force and then pick up like a Warden's Mail. And I'm like, wait, bro, you had just about enough to finish Trinity Force. Because Trinity Force is a very expensive item, I do understand. 3,700 plus gold compared to a different tier 3 item such as Randuin's Omen, which we're building next, which is like 2,800 gold. Like, it's like 1,000 more gold. I get it. It's a lot, but finish it off. It'll make you massive, massive power spike on the Hecarim. And that is, that's my do this statement of the day. That's the sound effect too. So we are building towards that. Of course, we picked up the Giant's Belt. I like the value it has first. We just pretty much dive Morgana. That's a support, though. They are squishy. And we also had a little bit of help, too, from Syndra, which is always a good thing. But we're going to go ahead and continue building. We'll talk about the build, too, as this goes on. A little pros and cons, too, we'll throw in here. We're building towards that Randuin's Omen. Very good. Also, the activatable on it is fantastic to slow your enemies down. Lets you stick to them even more. The stickiness is sticky without even having, like, necessary tons of slows. It's just that we're very quick and that we deal lots of damage quickly. So, Omen is what we want. Armor, health, shenanigans. It's what you want. Now, after we do finish off our Omen, we have a choice here when it comes to magic resist items. And my choice I go with is, of course, the Spirit Visage. It's going to help with the healing on your W. It's also going to help you with your healing on the lifesteal item we will pick up at the end of the game, which a lot of people may not get, but I like it a lot. And cooldown reduction, health, and magic resist, really. Spirit Visage is everything we want. We love, and we've talked about this, we love cooldown reduction. It helps you cast more of the things to get more of the kills. It's simplified logic. And it's a good item. So we're going to go for that. Obviously, Banshee's Veil would be fantastic if you really are worried about blocking an ability, especially upon initiation, not getting locked down right away. Also would work very well. Could be a really good item depending upon the team comp that you're up against. That's where the situational part comes in. So, yes, that is that. Those are those two next items. Love them. Sixth item-wise, we're just going to get to it already. It's already in the description, too. You know all the things. The sixth item is an interesting item, some would say. I personally love the Ravenous Hydra. He becomes an even bigger AoE ball of ridiculousness, and the damage is really good on it, so, yeah, it's good. The other one would, of course, be the Guardian Angel. Very, very fantastic. Also like that one. You could also just get more beefy if you need more armor or more light or magic resist. Obviously, once again, situational. Pick up the one that you want next. But I love the Hydra. We're not going to get to that point in this game, though, because things are getting out of control. The focus is less than outstanding, and the team fights are chaotic, but that's what Hecarim brings to these team fights. We talked about it for a second, I think. Hecarim's ultimate breaks apart these frontline metas right now where these tanks are involved. He goes straight through, and he parts the sea, and he goes straight to the back, and he gets onto the squishy champions, and he can deal a lot of damage to them. Basically making a tank just become a meat shield for no one, which you don't want to ever become a meat shield for no one. If you force out the damage, tanks just die. That's what they do. They're supposed to be imposing and menacing because they have damage behind them. Hecarim forces out that damage by killing them or getting them so low they have to run for their lives. And meat shields in a tanky meta, because that's the way it's turned for now, it works incredibly well. So that is going to be that when it comes to how great that ultimate is. And not on the world's longest cooldown, not on the world's shortest cooldown, but legitimately a great, great ultimate. Actually, it's on a pretty long cooldown, come to think of it. That's another reason why cooldown reduction is fantastic. So, pros and cons, though, about Hecarim. Like we complained for a minute in this video, you gotta finish the Trinity Force off. Don't build something else in front of it like another big ticket item. You want the Trinity Force. It's gonna be fantastic for you. The other thing, Hecarim, like a few champions with a lot of movement speed and mobility, can easily overextend. Be careful of this. Don't always just run into a fight and be like, we're initiating, and then you realize you are 8 screens in front of your team. We can do it here because we can triple kill them because we're that big right now. We have 19 kills. It's possible. But when it's a close game, don't just go run off. That's a big tip. Don't do that. It'll work really well for you in the long run. That's going to be the build. It's in the description if you missed any of it. But other than that, I'll see all of you in the next build video.